Seed Division and Government of India for establishment of Science, Technology and Innovation Hub for empowerment of SC and ST population of rupees 2 crore 61 lakh for developing community. He has been instrumental in bringing grants under corporate social responsibility for research laboratory. During year 2013 to 2016, he has completed research projects funded by Department of Science and Technology under Fast Track Scheme for Young Scientists of rupees 17,62,000. Dr. Praveen has organized faculty development programs supported by AICTE Atal Academy as well as delivered more than 20 popular talks in seminars, conferences and workshops. He is served as reviewer for Springer Nature International Journal of Machine Learning and Cybernetics. Second is Springer Nature International Journal of Medical System and Springer Nature International Journal of Multimedia Tools and Applications. In the capacity of organizing secretary, he has organized a third international conference on recent trends in image processing and pattern recognition in the year 2020. Dr. Praveen is also well connected with societies as life member of Indian Unit of Pattern Recognition and Artificial Intelligence, International Association of Engineers, Computer Supported Telecommunication Applications, International Association of Computer Science and Information Technology, and Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers.
Thank you, Shraddha ma'am. Thank you very much for your introduction. Now, may I call upon Dr. Praveen Annawar to take charge of the session. Dr. Praveen.
Thank you, Pramod sir, for inviting me. And thank you very much, Shraddha, for introducing my profile with the audience. At the outset, I would like to thank the convener, co-convener, coordinator, and the entire team of Balloon College BEAD for organizing such a beautiful workshop onto research methodology and intellectual property rights. I hope I'm loud and clear to all the participants, and I'm reaching to you in a very proper way.
Yes,
yes. So at the outset, my heartily greeting goes to all the organizers for their efforts. The topic which is given to me is all about intellectual property rights and how we can see how we can commercialize. There are several aspects when you come towards the intellectual property rights. Like, what is your motive behind going for intellectual property rights? What is actually intellectual property right? Is how it benefits me into my academic and research profile, and how I can create those intellectual property rights, where to see the possible scope of registration, what are the different offices that are available, what is its scope at
Praveen sir, we lost you. Yes, sir.
Yes, I don't know why I got disconnected, but like, okay, not an issue. So your inconvenience is deeply regretted. But the point, what I was talking about is like we were mostly concerned with the copyrights, but we should, being an academician, we should see beyond the copyrights. So I'm taking this effort to let you know about intellectual property rights, and this particular topic, this particular session should be, I hope that this should be an interactive session. At any point of time, if you find that you have certain questions into your mind, I would like to request you that you can raise the hand so that I can allow you to place your queries. At the same time, I am going to see the chat window frequently, so that if you have any question in your mind about the topic which we are discussing all the way, you can write those questions into chat window. I will take those questions during the course of the discussion, and this is the way we are going to progress. So let me switch off the camera so that we'll save some bandwidth, and we'll start up with the presentation. So just okay, I hope this is visible to everybody. Please respond me if you are getting it appropriate into the screen. Yes. His presentation is coming properly, everyone?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Yeah, is okay. Good. Okay, so we are about to discuss now intellectual property rights. So if you look at this particular scenario, being an academic researcher, we are much interested into this particular segment. Idea. We are much interested into authorship by means of papers. We carry out our research in order to have an innovative work. So we are working for an innovation, right? We are actually helping, like whenever we write any paper, and when it comes to a digital form, we are creating a digital content, actually. Digital content. We are preparing a digital content here. Right. So if you look at these segments, these are closely associated with respect to your intellectual property right. The copyright is one of the same segment we have, right? Usually our research paper, which gives us authorship, when it gets published, we usually going to have an authorship, copyrights, right? So this is going to be the case, right? So I'll just, within the course of discussion only, I'll let you know like what happens if you share your copyrights with others, and how the things are going to get changed, okay, and how, in what way the copyrights are so important. Okay, so normally if you look at intellectual property right, intellectual property right stands for like whatever the intellectual things that you are doing, the ownership of your intellectuals should be at with you. So if you would like to have that particular case, you need to go with intellectual property rights. So this particular discussion is with respect to the academic leaders, researchers, perspectives we are going to have. Okay, now if we look at this, we wanted to be on the first stage every time, right? So so we wanted to win the race, right? And there is a race, right? Lot many people are running with us, right? With the same notion, with the same enthusiasm, right? But like if you look at the race, there is only one winner. Okay, and the person who wins has the same abilities, but the person is utilizing the same abilities in a very different way. That is why that person wins the race. So being an academician, you are deeply involved into research, right? You are deeply involved into the research, right? right? To be onto a top position into a research, there are certain factors, right? That you should have a good productivity of your research outcome, right? So usually when you look at good productivity of your research outcome, you need to see like what kind of research I am engaging. So there are basically two kinds of research that are being engaged. One is extension of the research, extension of the work, right? One is extension and one is innovation, right? So one is innovation. Now by extension I mean, like, see, by extension I mean, say there are three fellows, those are running, right? Say for example A B C D, right? And all those are running means what, they are onto a same domain, right? Basically they are runners. Say for example, this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D, and this is E. So all are runners, right? All are runners. That means what, their basic domain of play or game is the same. They are runners. So in the same way, whatever the domains that you are working with, so they are same with respect to all of the researchers, right? So usually whenever you look at the problem A, you have got the problem A. This is A is a problem. Now with this particular problem, if say for example B has come up with a certain solution, so you definitely look at the paper of a B and you propose your proposal, right? So you, by looking at the solution of a B, you prepare your proposal and you go on doing the research. So this is called as an extension of the work. This is called an extension of the work. So what is being extended is that the work which is being carried out by this particular B is being extended, right? So for this particular case, if you take a researcher R who is looking after the reference research paper onto research papers, I'll say research papers onto a search engine, say Google, right? So then this research student has two states: either he will happy or he is going to be sad one. That happy if and only if he gets a research reference. If he gets a reference for the study, he is happy. If he is not getting a reference, he becomes sad, and he used to come to the mentor and say that, sir, we don't get any sort of the references onto the work which we are leading, right? So, and by that we don't evaluate ourselves that where we stand actually, right? So this is the problem. So, and just to understand and just to have this particular issue, right? And just to address this particular issue, you are highly dependent upon the proposals, right? So on to the search engine results. But you need not to be sad if you are not getting a reference. That is a very key area for having an innovative research, right? Key area for an innovative research. So if you instead of becoming sad, if you take this as an opportunity to have an innovative work, then you will be onto the top, right? So this is the top position. So basically this is important, that if you wanted to remain onto a top, don't think of the extension of the work, think about the innovation of the work. So the problem statement which you need to address should be having a less referencing onto the Google, right? Now Google is a search engine which is giving you the result, right? But please don't consider Google just as a search engine. It is a data analytics company, right? Which is analyzing the data, right? So for them also it is very important, whatever the problem statements you are putting onto the search engine, that has an immense potential. So I would suggest you to don't go for an exhaustive search if you are not getting a proper referencing of the article. So that will give you an innovative way of doing, right? So but whenever you are doing it, our picture is something like this, right? हम लोग को state कैसे रहता है, इस story जैसा रहता है. So I hope you know this particular story. This is elephant and 6 or 7 blinds. Okay, so these are the blinds and this is the elephant, right? So what is the outcome of this particular story? That, see, if you look at this elephant as in the context of a problem, right? If you look at this elephant in the context of the problem and these blinds in the context of the researcher, then you can understand that every researcher has a different perspective towards the problem, right? Every researcher has a different perspective to the problem, right? Like, see, if you name this researcher, say A researcher, B, C, D, E, and F, right? And whatever they are, like, see, A is touching to the tail of the elephant, right? And getting a feel of a rope, right? B is touching to the body of the elephant and feeling like this is going to be a wall. C is touching to the legs. It looks like a what, a tree kind of thing, right? So what does it means? It means that every researcher has a different perception of the problem, and actually they are nothing but they are highlighting a sub problems here. They are highlighting a sub problems, right? And in this particular digital era, you're not the only person who is looking at this particular sub problem alone. With you, there are many thousand number of people those are looking at this particular problem, sub problem here. So it is on the contrary, it is really very important for you to look towards the problem. Right now, in this case, elephant is a problem, right? And to address this particular problem, you have a researcher perspective, right? So this is really very, very important, researcher's perspective. Right now, this researcher perspective talks about what? This researcher's perspective talks about the idea. Right, this researcher's perspective talks about this idea, talks about approach, right? This approach talks about method. This approach talks about, this method talks about some formulation of experimentation, or some formulation about the processes, right? So this is really very important, right? And this formulation of experimentation and the processes is giving us results, output, solutions, and these research output solutions we are going to publish into an academic papers. Now what is going to happen, right? See, why this is so important, because once we have an academic paper, then we start publishing this academic paper into a journal of good repute, right? And nowadays there are two forms, right? One is open access, and the other form of the publication is subscription based. Right. So if you look at open access or a subscription based mechanism, in open access mechanism, the author is going to pay the cost, right? Author is going to pay the cost. In case of subscription, author is not going to pay the cost, but the manuscript is available to the readers onto a subscription basis, right? But in both the cases, right, both the cases, just to avoid the cost, or just to go for just to avoid this APC kind of thing, what we are going to do is that we want the manuscript to be get published, but we hand over the copyright to the journal. We hand over the copyright to whom? We hand over the copyright to the journal, right? So the time we hand over the copyright to the journal, we don't have any ownership of our article except the publication, right? So it's just a piece of paper. We don't holds the right on on to the content which is presented into the manuscript, because you don't reserve the copyright, you hand over the copyright to the journal. Okay, so whenever you, please note that whenever you hand over the copyright to the journal, your ownership from the document get lost, right? And if suppose someone else, say for example you published a paper, and if I gone through your paper and I devised a unique method based on to the proposals that you have submitted, right? I have developed an formulation, I develop a experimentation process on top of it, or I develop a product on top of it, then in that case you cannot protect your work for being commercialized, right? Because it is your work, it is your idea, but since you have lost the copyright, right, so you cannot claim the ownership of it, right? You cannot claim that. Okay, so it is really very important to protect your copyright, right? And it is at the same time, it is very important to protect your intellectual property in that sense. Okay, so this is really very important. Now if you look at the interesting fact worldwide related to the patents, right? So you will find that the China is the leading country in filing the scientific publications, right? Scientific publication worldwide. So if you look at the publication share of China is 20%, 20.67%. Publication out of all scientific publications worldwide came only from the China. If you look at India, our share is 5.31%, right? It's really very good share, right? So this is about the publication that the academic people used to do, right? So this is the statistics data that I have received from this Statistita website, and the link is already provided to you. You can also check it out, right? So this data is up to 2018 data. So 2020, 2018, 2019 data soon be made available, right? But if you look at the publications, out of these publications, if you look at the IPRs, intellectual property, right, there is tremendous change, right? So say for example, there is a tremendous change, right? Say for example, here it is 5,28,000 publications are produced, but if you look at here, in case of patents, total 32,76,000 patent. That means around 32 million patents have been submitted. Means if you look at the volume, year-wise volume of the publications as well as the patents, so you'll find that कि सबसे ज़्यादा patent file हो गया, but publications कम हुआ. So means people are more interested in filing a patent than writing the articles. Okay, तो माने अगर ये चेक कर लिया, ये तो ये just 5.2 million रहेगा, ये तो 33.3 ये 0.5 million रहेगा, right? Okay, so इधर हो गया वो 3.3 million, right? So it is 32 lakhs 76,000. It is 5 lakhs 28,000. तो 32 lakhs 76,000 एप्लीकेशन पेटेंट के फाइल होते हैं 2020 में, और आपका पब्लिकेशन जाता है 5 लाख. सो वर्ल्ड वाइड अगर उसका सम भी करते हैं, इफ यू सम इट, स्टिल इट इज नॉट मोर देन 10 lakhs. ये 5 और 4 9 और ये अगर ये सब अगर कंपेयर करते हैं 10 लाख 11 लाख 12 लाख, so this is whole is 15 lakhs, right? Publication 32 lakh patents. So ये अगर हम लोग कंपैरिजन करते हैं तो you need to understand that कि सबसे ज्यादा इंटेलेक्चुअल कंटेंट जो है, इनोवेटिव कंटेंट है, वो पब्लिकेशन में नहीं है, पेटेंट के डेटाबेस में, राइट? सबसे ज्यादा इनोवेटिवनेस कहां पर है? पब्लिकेशन में नहीं, पेटेंट्स में है. तो दिस यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. So if you look at the growth of the applications in the patent, it is marvelous and it is a tremendous growth. Now if you look at which countries, which segment of intellectual property is going ahead, so you will find that the trademarks are going ahead, right? So trademarks सबसे ज्यादा फाइल होते हैं, सबसे ज्यादा यूटिलिटी मॉडल्स फाइल होते हैं, इंडस्ट्रियल डिजाइन्स फाइल होते हैं एंड देन पेटेंट का फाइलिंग होता है. सो यूटिलिटी मॉडल्स माने क्या, जो इंस्ट्रूमेंटेशन प्रिपेयर करते हैं, राइट, डिफरेंट डिफरेंट प्रोसेसेस के लिए, वो एक प्रकार का हार्डवेयर आर्किटेक्चर होता है, मॉडल्स होते हैं. सो ऑल दोज यूटिलिटी मॉडल्स आर फाइल्ड क्योंकि उसका डिजाइन होता है. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल अभी सैमसंग ने फोल्डेबल मोबाइल लॉन्च किया है, राइट, मींस यू कैन फोल्ड इट अक्रॉस, राइट. सो दैट इज अ डिजाइन, इनोवेटिव डिजाइन. सो उसका वो क्या करते हैं, इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी बना देते हैं, तो सो दैट नोबडी एल्स कैन गो फॉर फोल्डेबल मोबाइल इन दैट पर्टिकुलर वे, द वे Samsung has brought in place. Okay, so that is utility model design. So ये design सबसे ज्यादा फाइल होते हैं worldwide. So that is called as utility models. Then there are certain trademarks, like say for example, if you look at this particular way, just a minute. If you look at this particular way, you'll find that okay, this is something called Audi, right? If you look at if you look at this is something like Volkswagen car, this is one symbol. This is a symbol of Hyundai, right? Maruti Suzuki ka alag symbol hoega, right? So this is like, right? So these are what? These are trademarks, right? Ye jo USP rehta hai ki by which the existence is, means symbols. These are trademarks, means what? The symbols which can be used for identification purpose. Right, so they are called as trademarks. So it is like the symbol is being written and it is being TM, right? So the Hyundai is a trademark, Mercedes ka trademark hai, Audi ka trademark hai, right? Like all. Then there is a industrial designs and the patents. If you look at this, you will find that utility models are 3 million, patents are 3.3 million, trademarks are 17.2 million, and industrial designs are 1.4 million. So this is what the world scenario. Out of that, ये जो scratched है, segmented है, colored form में है, this particular form, this is the contribution of Asia worldwide, right? So you'll find that कि maximum utility model अगर 3 million है, तो उसमें से about 90% जो है वो एशिया से जा रहा है. If you look at trademarks, अगर 72 million है, जहाँ पे 60% एशिया से जा रहा है. If you look at it is 3.3%, around 60% is from Asia. If you look at industrial design, around 50% is from Asia. So just see the potential of filing those particular intellectual properties worldwide. Okay, now अगर हम लोग बात करते हैं patents का, right, intellectual properties का, then you need to understand that the China has got 45.7% of share across the world publication, across the world submission of the patents. तो ये रहा चाइना का part, that China has got the 45.7% of the submissions worldwide. Then followed by China, there is US, Japan, Republic of Korea. This is EPO, means European Union Patent Office. Right? This is European Union Office, right? So this is, तो अगर हम लोग world पेटेंट एप्लीकेशन जो हम लोग 32 मिलियन बोल रहे हैं, 32 मिलियन में अगर हम लोग डिवाइड करते हैं तो 45% जो है वर्ल्ड पब्लिकेशंस जो रहते हैं, लाइक दिस इज द वे, this much is owned by China. So this is really very important. This needs to understand. अगर ये चाइना का बात है तो where India stands, right? So India stands here. Right, so like if you look at China, right, in 2020 they have filed 1.4 million, right, and we have filed 56, right, 0.5 million, right? So means not 0.05 million applications we have filed, right? जहां पर वो 14 लाख 1.4 मिलियन जाते हैं, वहां पे हम लोग 0.05 मिलियन पहुंचते हैं, right? But still our growth is 5.9%, right? Just 1% less than China, minus 1%, right? Okay, so our growth is good, but the number of applications we are getting very less, right? So these are the offices where the patents were filed. So these are top 10 offices where the patents are filed: China, US, Japan, Korea, European Union, Germany, and India, right? Then there is a Russian Federation, Canada, Brazil, and all, right? तो ये सभी जगह पे होते हैं. Right now, in India, particularly, we have 4 offices. India मध्ये 4 offices आहेत. 4 offices. We have Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, and Kolkata. And these are 4 offices are there. So it is like 4 north, east, west, south. So Mumbai is a western zone, comes under western zone. Okay, so this is really very important, and you need to understand this as well. Okay, now if you look at the applications का अगर हम लोग देखते हैं कि कौन सा एरियाज में सबसे अच्छा या सबसे ज्यादा पब्लिकेशंस या सबमिशंस होता है, तो if you look at computer technology, you'll find that US is first, China is second. Okay, right? US is first, China is second, right? Or if you look at China stands first into digital communication, second into computer technology, and third into audiovisual technology. If you look at US stands first in computer technology, second into medical technology, and third into digital communication, digital space, right? Japan, if you look at Japan stands first in electrical machinery apparatus energy, second into computer, and third into measurements, right? Republican Korea and Germany, you can count it in that particular segments, right? Top 10 applications, if you look at कि कौन से firms ने सबसे ज्यादा applications किया है, so you'll find that UI technologies, which gives us modem and all other communications, right? So that has got largest number of patents in 2020, right? Has submitted largest number of patents, right? Then there comes Samsung, then there come Mitsubishi, LG, Qualcomm, right? This is Germany's company, right? So this is Oppo Mobile. If you look at Oppo, Sony, Panasonic, right? These companies come forward, right? So they have submitted largest number of publications. Okay, now if you look at this database, जैसे मैंने अभी आपको कहा था कि that there are like 2 ways, right? One is the academic repository of the paper, and second is the databases of patents, right? So if you look at the patent databases, you will find that patent databases में अभी तक कितना information है? As of now 87 million patents का database अपने पास है अभी available, right? And all those 87 million patents with full text from the patent offices from the 17 countries, right? So 17 countries का पूरा database अपने पास available. Just you कि like जब आप publications का बात करेंगे या जब आप whenever you think of doing research, I would suggest you to go for patent database rather searching a paper onto Google. आपने क्या करना चाहिए? You have to go for publication, जो है patent का जो है publication है, that you need to search rather searching for the paper, right? This is my humble suggestion and request to the research supervisors, those are present here, that you should encourage your student to go for a patent database first before searching into academic repositories. Okay, so free databases कौन से हैं? जैसे database कहा जाता है, then there are 2 ways. One is free database and one is paid database. So if you look at Google Patent itself is a free database containing 87 million of the full patent text. Okay, other than that, there are free databases like USPTO. This is USPTO means United States Patent Office and Trademarks Office. So USPTO, then European Union, then China's Intellectual Property Administration, Japan, Korea, WIPO. This is the world's intellectual property right organization offering the database, free database access. This offers free database. Right, so there is no charge at all for accessing this WIPO, right? Then there is Duchess patent database also, it is available. Right, in spite of these free databases, even India का भी है InPass, right? India का InPass, right? ये भी आप freely access कर सकते हैं कि what are the patents that are registered into Indian context, right? And these are the paid databases, right? ये paid databases है that you can go for. So ये क्यों दिया? Why I have given this just to like give you a flavor that there are free databases also which you can search, right? And there are paid databases also which you can use, right? Depending upon the availability. Now, if you look at the patent, you need to understand a clear distinction between what is discovery and what is invention, right? And I hope it is with everybody. Like, for example, Christopher Columbus has discovered America, right? Which is means it is recognizing something which is already exists for the first time that nobody has found it before, right? So it is a discovery. So discovery of plant species, discovery of animals, right? Usually plant taxonomies or you can say animal taxonomies used to do this kind of thing, right? Discoveries, right? They are specifically mean for them, right? This word is mean for them, right? So means a kind of frog nobody has identified, right? Someone has reported, right? It is like that. So it is a discovery of that particular species. Okay, so it is discovery. If you look at invention, you can take into consideration that the thing which is creating something totally new with one's own idea and the development. Although the invention is completely new to the world, but the physical material needed for the production of that particular element is already exist, right? मैंने फॉर एग्जांपल बल्ब बनाया तो ऑलरेडी वो टंगस्टन मटेरियल ऑलरेडी फिलामेंट के लिए था, अपने पास अवेलेबल था. अपने पास वो समय में ग्लास मटेरियल भी अवेलेबल था, बट the unique way of putting that filament and the glass all together into one particular segment is itself an invention. Means अगर कोई चीज ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट है बट उसका सही तरीके से प्रॉपर अरेंजमेंट बना के अगर कोई चीज बनाई जाती है जो ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट नहीं है, then that concept can be taken as an invention, right? So for example, Thomas Alva Edison has invented an electric bulb. So it is invented an electric bulb. Now see, before like say 5 to 6 years, there was an invention of electrical cars, right? इलेक्ट्रिकल कार, तो उनका इलेक्ट्रिकल कार इनोवेट हुआ, राइट? बिकॉज अभी तक का ये जो भी कार्स है वो दैट आर ऑन द फॉसिल फ्यूल्स, राइट? अभी ये क्या हो गया, इलेक्ट्रिकल पे आ गया, तो दैट द टर्म इट इज कॉल्ड एज इन्वेंटेड, right? There is an invention into electrical car, but anybody who is going for electrical mobility, now there is no innovation as such, but the first person who has brought into a place that this is the way electrical cars can be designed, so this is important. So that is an innovative steps. So you need to understand this. So if you look at with this particular discussion, you can come across with some of the key factors. Is if you look at the patent is what? Patent is a monopoly right, and it is given exclusively for the use of an invention for a limited period of time, right? So limited period of time माने यहाँ पर कितना स्कोप हुआ है आपको? It is 20 years, right? So patent is allowed for you for the period of 20 years. Means 20 years कैसे count होंगे? Since from inception to 20 years. राइट? माने आज आपने पेटेंट रजिस्टर्ड किया तो आज के डेट से इट इज वैलिड फॉर 20 इयर्स ऑफ टाइम. बट ये 20 इयर्स ऑफ टाइम जो है, इसमें आपको चीज याद रखना है, द पॉइंट फ्रॉम वेयर द पेटेंट इज ग्रांटेड. ये पर्टिकुलर टाइम लाइन पे इफ इट इज ग्रांटेड, राइट, then from this term, this period to this particular period, every year you need to revive the patent by renewing it. So you need to renew every year. You need to renew. So this renewal process is every year. This is every year from the year of granted to 20 years. Okay. So ये जो particular, yes. Is there any question? Let me see the chat window. Yeah, if anyone wanted to talk, please raise the hand. Let me see. Should I continue?
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Okay. Okay, there is no question into chat. So now see, this is the date of file, this is the date of submission, right? यहाँ पे आपने submit किया, say for example 2022 में submit किया, ये मार्च में, right? You filled into March 2022. तो March 2022 to ये कहाँ तक चलेगा? 2042 तक. लेकिन March 22 में you have filed, then there are certain stages to it. Filed, published, examined, and granted. Right, means from filed to granted, there are two additional stages are required. One is called published and examined. Right. So usually this period in India is 4 years. Right. माने अगर कोई चीज आपको कमर्शियलाइज करना है तो सिंपल सी चीज है, आज फाइल करो और आज ही से उसको कमर्शियलाइजेशन शुरू करो, क्योंकि जब तक वो ग्रांटेड होगा, ग्रांटेड होने के बाद आपको 16 साल ही मिलेंगे, राइट? बिकॉज ड्यूरेशन इज 4 years. यू कैन नो डाउट यू कैन एक्सपेडाइट इट, आप उसको एक्सपेडाइट कर सकते हैं, बट बाय एप्लीकेशंस, डिफरेंट नंबर ऑफ एप्लीकेशंस, बट you have, अगर आप वही ड्यूरेशन पे रहे तो you will require at least 4 years of time for the granted. So by which it gets published, examined and granted, ये प्रोसीजर. तो you have this much time, but every year माने 4 साल के बाद you need to renew it if it is granted. Okay, so when I say it is a negative right, this monopoly right is always a negative right.
Dr. Praveen.
Yes, sir.
Sorry for interruption, but there's a question of Dr. Vibhute. He is asking how much is the fees for renewal?
It is almost less than 1,000 rupees for a renewal, because you know the cost required for filing a patent is around 1,200 rupees in India. So it is very cheap, very minimal cost is required for filing a filing a patent in India. It costs around 1,200 to 1,800 rupees. Right. As far as renewal is considered, it is just the same fees for the purpose of renewal. So you need not to worry about. But एक चीज याद रखें, अभी आगे वाला कुछ स्लाइड्स है ना, जिसमें हमको देखना है कि सही में मेरा वर्क पेटेंटेबल है क्या, मीन्स कौन सा वर्क को हम लोग बोलते हैं कि ये पेटेंटेबल है. That you need to understand, right? I hope I addressed to question, sir. So yes, it is a negative right. Yeah, it is a negative right, and it is allowed for limited period of time, right? 20 years actually the term. Now patent negative right means what? You are like, invention cannot be commercially used or exploited without the patent owner's consent. Without the patent owner's consent, you cannot commercially utilize or exploit, right? And at the same time, it is a territorial right. Territorial right means that if you file it in India, if you file a system in India, you are allowed to use it within the India only, not in other countries, right? तो territorial right वो रहता है. जैसे माने हम लोग एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं कि नागपुर ऑरेंजेस. So सबसे अच्छा ऑरेंजेस कहाँ से है? नागपुर से. If you take a case of कोल्हापुरी चप्पल, so that is वो एक्चुअली उसका जेन्युइननेस कहाँ से है? कोल्हापुर से. तो जैसे कोकन अगर देखते हैं वहां पे हापूस है, राइट? तो सबसे अच्छा हापूस कहाँ से है? देवगढ़ से, राइट? सो इट इज लाइक दैट. सो यहाँ पे उसको क्या बोलते हैं? जीआई बोलते हैं, जियोग्राफिकल इंडिकेटर्स. right. GI is a geographical indicators, right? तो जैसे जियोग्राफिकल इंडिकेटर्स पर्टिकुलर एरियाज के लिए डिफाइन किए जाते हैं, वैसे ही पेटेंट के लिए टेरिटोरी डिफाइन करती हैं. वो पर्टिकुलर टेरिटोरी रहती है इंडिया. अगर समझो आपका वर्क अच्छा है, आपको इंडिया में भी रजिस्टर करना है, एंड द सेम यू नीड टू रजिस्टर फॉर अदर कंट्रीज, देन आपको क्या करना है? योर प्रिंसिपल एप्लीकेशन विल गो टू इंडिया एंड अदर एप्लीकेशन गोज टू अदर कंट्रीज. देन यू नीड टू गो फॉर पीसीटी एप्लीकेशन. देन क्वेश्चन आता है कि सर ये पीसीटी क्या है? दिस इज कॉल्ड एज पेटेंट कोऑपरेशन ट्रीटी. नाउ व्हेन आई से इट इज अ ट्रीटी मींस that a group of countries come together and they are ready to they are allowing their citizen to apply for the patent onto patent onto different countries altogether with their prevailing norms, right? So ऐसे PCT application उसको बोलते हैं. Then there you need to decide like in which country you are going to apply. So that is called as PCT application. So this is really very important, that this PCT stands for Patent Cooperation Treaty, and India is one of the member of this PCT. Okay, so this is very important. So since what we understood that patent is a monopoly right, it is given for a limited number of time, right? That is 20 years, and you cannot exploit patent without consent of the patent owners, and it is a territorial right. Now, if the patent is granted, you can give a patent on rent also. Huh? Oblique lease also, right? This is also very important, right? Just to understand. Then question is, अगर ये सब पेटेंट ये important points है पेटेंट का, तो पेटेंट किसको ग्रांट किया जाता है? पेटेंट इज ग्रांटेड फॉर एन इन्वेंशन विच इज न्यू प्रोडक्ट और प्रोसेस. इंडिया में प्रोसेस को पेटेंट नहीं होता है. इंडिया में यू नीड अ प्रोडक्ट विथ द प्रोसेस. ओके, product with the process. So it is, you need to understand this, that a patent granted for invention which is new product or a process involving an inventive step, right? Involving an inventive step and capable of industrial application. So what is inventive step? Now inventive step is something like this. If you look at a pencil, this is just a pencil, right? This is just a pencil, right? So if I use a pencil and I've drawn something, then I need a separately an eraser to erase that, right? So do we have a pencil and eraser all together into one, right? If I join this particular eraser to directly to a pencil, is it a technical commercially viable solution? No, right? Then this solution has to be redesigned. This solution has to be redesigned in such a way that it should not be an obvious, right? Should not be obvious, right? So if it is obvious, then it is definitely not an inventive solution, right? So means obvious means what? Something which is known to a person's skill in the art, right? Which is called as obvious, right? Now it should not be obvious, right? It should be novel and it should not be obvious. Then we have got this kind of design, right? Once this has came into a market, then it becomes an obvious for rest of the world, right? But till it's get granted, it is not an obvious, right? So similarly, if you look at this ladder, right? This is ladder. If you look at this particular ladder, this was filed in 1862, right? This was filed in 1862. That is 7th January 1862 by Balsley from Dayton, Ohio. Right, so he has submitted this particular Ohio patent, right, in 1862. So then afterwards there are such kind of modifications that have been seen. So inventive step is this. So inventive step means an invention that involves technical advances as compared to the existing knowledge, or having a economic significance, or both, that makes the invention non-obvious to a person's skill into the art, right? Person skill into art means an expert person into a domain, right? That is called person skill in the art. So an inventive step would be the mixing of the two in one product, right? Like this is an inventive step. And it must be non-obvious, means you can mix two things, but adulteration is not encouraged. Huh? So this is important. So if you look at an invention, then there are certain clauses which you need to see, right? So if you look at the clause 2(1)(j), where invention means a new product or process involving inventive step and capable of industrial application, which must be novel, which must be inventive, has inventive step, must be capable of industrial application, and should not fall into the section 3 and 4. So if you look at your work is falling into section 3 and 4, then it cannot be patented. So anything which is not covering into section 3 and 4 of Indian Patent Act, can be covered under grant of the patent, right? So it should not cover into section 3 and 4, right? So here the concept of it must be new, novel. What does this new means? New means it should not be published in India or elsewhere, in prior knowledge or prior public use within the India, or it should not be claimed before any specification in India. So this is important. So if you say that you have got a if you have got a if the case that you got exciting results, right, or say path breaking results, you got a path breaking results, then what you do, you could not register yourself for what? For filing a patents. But before filing patent, you published your article, because you could not register yourself in publication of the article, because you think that it will receive a high impact journal, right? तो आपने उसको high impact journal में publish कर दिया. So once it get published, then you suddenly come across that, oh, यार इसके ऊपर तो हम लोग system बना सकते हैं and we can exploit it commercially, but it is being published, right? So anything which is published in India cannot be accepted for what? For filing a patent. But इसके लिए you need to understand that anything which is any article of yours get published, right? If it gets published, then within 12 months of time, right, you can file a patent across, right? But if it is going beyond this period, then you probably lose everything. But if you publish and suddenly go for patent, you can go for it, right? You can at least file a patent. The actual process is, if you have a path breaking result, instead of publishing this result, go for filing patent, then go for publication immediately, right? This filing a patent is nothing but protecting your idea, right? Protecting your idea, and then you can go for immediately, you can go for publication. So there is absolutely no worries if you go ahead. But if you have somehow you have come across with the published, then within 12 months of time you can go for filing a patent, right? वहां पर भी आपको प्रूव करना पड़ता है कि the publication is in the limited audience, right? वो specific domain के लोगों के बीच में है and not more than that, right? But if it is उसका duration बहुत हो गया, तो you cannot go for submission of the patents in that particular case. Okay, section 3 है यहाँ पे frivolous inventions को आप नहीं कर सकते. Frivolous invention माने क्या? कोई मशीन, आपने एक मशीन डिजाइन किया जो 100% आउटपुट देता है, ऐसा इन्वेंशन कभी प्रोटेक्ट नहीं हो सकता, राइट? बिकॉज अगर एनर्जी है तो वो लूज होगा ही. देयर इज सर्टन वेस्टेज, राइट? और मशीन गिविंग आउटपुट विदाउट एनी इनपुट, ऐसा मशीन कोई है ही नहीं जिसको विदाउट इनपुट आप आउटपुट जनरेट कर सकते हैं. और मशीन गिविंग 100% परफॉर्मेंस, इट इज नेवर बीइंग पॉसिबल. तो ये फ्राइवलस इन्वेंशंस आप you cannot protect. Second is invention intended primary or intended use or commercially exploitation of which natural laws जो है उसको अगर आप break करके कुछ कर रहे हो तो it is not possible, right? Right? It could not be contrary to the public order or morality. Means, for example, biological warfare material जो है, weapon for mass destruction, you cannot use. Similarly, कुछ sections ऐसे हैं जहाँ पे if your work causing serious prejudice to the health or a human or animal, plant life or the environment, ऐसा कोई system आप patentize नहीं कर सकते. For example, an apparatus for gambling machine or gambling or machine for theft, gambling apparatus or method of gambling, method of adulteration of food, drug and medicines cannot be patented. This is important. ये section 3 में जाएगा. Section 3C में क्या जाएगा? Mere discovery, a scientific principle or formulation of an abstract theory, discovery of living, any living thing, discovery of non-living substances, right, occurring in the nature, ये आप उसको प्रोटेक्ट नहीं कर सकते, बिकॉज डिस्कवरी एंड इन्वेंशन ये दोनों चीज अलग है। डिस्कवरी ऑफ माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म ये नहीं हो सकता, बट जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड ऑर्गेनिजम्स यू कैन गो फॉर, राइट, यू कैन गो फॉर जीएमओस, जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड ऑर्गेनिजम्स आप कर सकते हैं। तो देर आर सर्टन चेक्स एंड बैलेंसेस हैं, तो दैट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड। और एक चीज है सेक्शन 3D में आता है, दैट इज मेयर डिस्कवरी ऑफ न्यू फॉर्म ऑफ द नोन सब्सटेंस। ओके, न्यू फॉर्म ऑफ द नोन सब्सटेंस अगर कुछ है तो उसको आप पेटेंटाइज नहीं कर सकते। फॉर एग्जांपल न्यू यूज ऑफ एस्प्रिन, एस्प्रिन इज ऑलरेडी देयर, बट न्यू यूज ऑफ एस्प्रिन कैन नॉट बी पेटेंटाइज्ड। मेयर यूज ऑफ नीम कैन नॉट बी पेटेंटाइज्ड। देन एट द सेम टाइम हल्दी जो है दैट इज ऑलरेडी नोन, सो आप उसको मॉडिफाई करके बेसिक हल्दी के को ही आप बता रहे हैं, तो इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू पेटेंटाइज, राइट। सो इट इज लाइक दैट। ओके, सिमिलरली केमिस्ट्री में होता है ना, जैसे साल्ट्स है, ईस्टर्स है, ईथर्स है, पॉलीमॉर्फ्स है, मेटाबॉल प्योर फॉर्म है, पार्टिकल साइज आप चेंज करके आप उसको कर रहे हैं, आइसोमर्स बना रहे हैं, मिक्सचर्स ऑफ आइसोमर्स है, कॉम्प्लेक्सेस है, कॉम्बिनेशंस है, एंड अदर डेरिवेटिव्स ऑफ द नोन सब्सटेंसेस है, ऑलरेडी नोन सब्सटेंस है तो नहीं कर सकते, राइट। इट शैल बी कंसिडर्ड टू द सेम सब्सटेंसेस अनलेस दे differ significantly in the properties with regards to the efficacy, right. Crystalline forms of a known substance is also being considered into section 3D, right. तो ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है। बट यहाँ पे इफेक्ट है इसका कि derivatives of a known substance with enhanced efficacy, right, enhanced efficacy is patentable। जो स्ट्रक्चरल में चेंज हो, प्रॉपर्टीज में सिग्निफिकेंटली डिफरेंट हो, ऐसे सभी सब्सटेंस को आप पेटेंटेबल कर सकते हैं, राइट। सेक्शन 3E जाता है, जैसा मेयर मिक्सचर्स रहेगा, सब्सटेंस ऑब्टेन्ड फ्रॉम द मेयर मिक्सचर्स, राइट। फॉर एग्जांपल कॉम्बी फॉर्म दैट इज पैरासिटामोल प्लस ब्रूफेन, राइट। ऐसा अडल्ट्रेशन जैसा रहता है तो उसको आप लोग पेटेंटाइज नहीं कर सकते। हाउएवर मिक्सचर रिजल्टिंग इनटू synergetic properties of a mixture ingredients, however it may be patentable, for example soap, detergent, lubricants, आप उसको कर सकते हैं, right। check and balances means यहाँ पे इफेक्ट क्या होगा कि substances obtained by mere mixtures resulting only the aggregation of the properties of the components thereof or a process of producing such a substance are not patentable, right। however synergetic formulation जिसमें modification significantly मिलता है, उसके बिहेवियर में वो फॉर्मुलेशंस आप पेटेंटेबल बना सकते हैं। मैंने सोप का परफॉर्मेंस विद लेसर प्राइस आप अगर इंप्रूव कर सकते हैं, डिटर्जेंट का परफॉर्मेंस आप इंप्रूव कर सकते हैं विद सम मॉडिफिकेशंस। यूएन लुब्रिकेंट्स का परफॉर्मेंस जो इंजन्स पे होता है, दैट यू आर मॉडिफाइंग इट, then it can be easily patentable, okay। so that this is really very important, there are checks and balances, right। अभी जैसा होता है कि mere arrangement or rearrangement, right, or duplication of the known device, each functioning independently of one another in a known way cannot be patentized। माने क्या, आपको रेडियो चाहिए विथ अलार्म क्लॉक, राइट, तो अलार्म क्लॉक ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल है, रेडियो ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल है, आप दोनों को एक मिक्स करते हो तो इसको आप पेटेंटाइज नहीं कर सकते। हाँ, this can be a design but it cannot be patent, okay। माने उस तरह से डिजाइन में कोई प्रोडक्ट ऑफर नहीं करेगा, बट ये कॉम्बिनेशन कोई नहीं कर सकता, ये यू कैन नॉट पेटेंटाइज, राइट। कॉम्बिनेशन हजारों हो सकते हैं बट डिजाइन उस तरह से नहीं हो सकता, ये पेटेंटाइज हो सकता है बट आप वो नहीं पेटेंटाइज नहीं कर सकते, राइट। So bucket with a fitted torch or umbrella with the fan, you can say cap with the fan, right, clock with the radio and in a single cabinet, floor mill with a sieving machine, right, like sort of thing you cannot think, right, you cannot patentize, right। So method of agriculture is not patentized, but the instrument used for the agricultural purpose can be easily patentized। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल कल्टीवेशन ऑफ एल्गी है, प्रोड्यूसिंग न्यू फॉर्म ऑफ द नोन प्लांट, यू कैन नॉट पेटेंटाइज। प्रिपरेशन ऑफ एन इम्प्रूव्ड सॉइल, यू कैन नॉट पेटेंटाइज इज, ऐसा नहीं कर सकते। एट द सेम टाइम मेडिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंटेशन का भी वैसे ही है, राइट। द ट्रीटमेंट performed on the tissues or fluid permanently removed from the body, surgical therapeutic instrumentation or diagnostic apparatus or instruments are पेटेंटेबल, राइट, बट उसका प्रोसीजर्स आप पेटेंटेबल नहीं कर सकते। माने एक डॉक्टर ने कैंसर को रिमूव करने के लिए एक प्रोसीजर लिखा, वो पेटेंटाइज हो नहीं सकता। क्यों नहीं हो सकता? क्योंकि उसका वो अगर पेटेंटाइज कर दे तो वो मोनोपोली बन जाएगा, वो वही पर्टिकुलर डॉक्टर करेगा और उसका नुकसान जो होता है वो कम्युनिटी को सहन करना पड़ेगा, इसलिए वो पेटेंटाइज नहीं कर सकते। एग्जाम्पल, रिमूवल ऑफ अ कैंसर ट्यूमर, प्रोसेस ऑफ रिमूवल ऑफ अ कैंसर ट्यूमर कैन नॉट बी डन। प्रोसेस ऑफ रिमूवल ऑफ डेंटल प्लाक एंड कैरीज कैन नॉट बी डन। सर्जिकल प्रोसेसेस आप पेटेंटाइज नहीं कर सकते। प्रोसेस रिलेटेड टू द थेरेपी आप कर नहीं सकते। मेथड ऑफ वैक्सीनेशन, मेथड ऑफ ब्लड ट्रांसफ्यूजन, आप इसको पेटेंटाइज नहीं कर सकते, राइट। बट इंस्ट्रूमेंटेशन उसके लिए हेल्प करने वाला जो है उसको आप पेटेंटाइज कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि उसमें ऑप्शंस आ सकते हैं, राइट। सेक्शन 3 जो है, जैसे न्यू वैरायटीज और क्लोन्स ऑफ वैरायटीज ऑफ द प्लांट, राइट, ये एग्जांपल्स हैं। मींस द प्लांट और एनिमल्स इन होल, पार्ट्स ऑफ द प्लांट्स एंड एनिमल्स, सीड्स, वैराइटीज, स्पीसीज, essentially biological processes, propagation of production of the animals and plant cannot be patentized, right? Can be patentized, it is exclusion actually, right? The process of production of the plants or animal, if it is considered entirely natural phenomena such as crossing or selection, आज भी ये लोग करते हैं, जैसा सीड इंडस्ट्री में it is being adopted, right? वो modification of those biological processes, they are being just to get a commercial benefit of it, they are come into the exclusion, otherwise they are not being patented. उसमें एक्सक्लूजन्स है, जैसे मैथमेटिकल मेथड्स है, इन केस ऑफ कंप्यूटर्स अल्गोरिथमिक प्रोसेस है, प्रोग्राम पर से है, आप उसको पेटेंटाइज कर सकते हैं, राइट। एग्जांपल, कंप्यूटर प्रोग्राम इफ इट इज और एज पर द रिकॉर्ड ऑन अ कैरियर, इट कैन बी पेटेंटेड, राइट। न्यू कैलकुलेटिंग मशीन, कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ हार्डवेयर सॉफ्टवेयर इज पेटेंटेबल, राइट, आप उसको बना सकते हैं। Pramod sir, can we extend it for 10 to 15 minutes if possible, or shall I stop here?
सर थोड़ा शॉर्ट में।
हाँ चलो ठीक है ना। So these are the extension. These are like actually माने अगर कोई लिटरेचर से है तो उसको किस तरह से कर सकते हैं, तो मेजरली लिटरेचर में it is going to be a copyright, right? पेटेंटेज में नहीं जाता है, वो कॉपीराइट में जाता है, right? So this is important. These are the sections you can go through the this, right? Anything which is coming into the section of 21 of the Atomic Energy Act, आप उसको पेटेंटेबल नहीं कर सकते। एटॉमिक एक्ट में जो भी कोई आता है उसको आप यूज नहीं कर सकते, पेटेंटेबल कर नहीं सकते। जैसे इन्वेंशन रिलेटेड टू द कंपाउंड्स ऑफ यूरेनियम, बेरिलियम, थोरियम, राइट, उसको आप ये नहीं कर सकते। उसको आप नहीं कर सकते। देन या पेटेंट सर्च ऑफिसेस, मैंने जैसे बोला था, दिस इज वाइपो, यूएसपीटीओ, इनपास। इनपास स्टैंड्स फॉर इंडियन पेटेंट एडवांस सर्च सिस्टम्स। दिस इज यूरोपियन, this is Canadian, this is Platpart, and Kaipo. Kaipo is a Korean intellectual property office. Just मैं इनपास आपको बता देता हूँ, just on demonstration purpose. Then we'll take some question and we'll stop here, right? So just a minute, I'll just stop this particular share and reopen the browser. Okay. This is WIPO, जैसे मैं अभी आपको बताया ना डेटा, तो it is WIPO. This is somewhere you can go for impasse, right? So this is actually impasse website hai. Here you can patents, you can search for patent. So it is this website. Just a minute, it will come. Acha, let it come. I'll till that time I just give you WIPO. Sorry. So ये वर्ल्ड पेटेंट ऑफिस है एक्चुअली, पेटेंट स्कोप. यहाँ पर से आप पेटेंट एक्सेस टू पेटेंट स्कोप डेटाबेस, जैसे मैंने बोला था, आप पेटेंट का डेटाबेस सर्च कर सकते हैं. सो दिस इज हाउ इट वर्क्स. आप एक कोई टर्म अगर मुझे बताएंगे या चैट विंडो में लिखेंगे तो हम लोग उसके बारे में सर्च कैसे होता है, जस्ट विद इन अ सेकेंड विल come to know. So this will give you an idea like how it can be searched. Anybody can write it into a chat window, a term at least, so that I can take that term of your interest. Electrophoresis. Electrophoresis in what? In which context you want to search? Electrophoresis कौन से context में search करना है? Okay. Chemistry, that is I know, but कौन से context में? Chemistry का कौन सा context में? Electrophoresis in any specific area? Electrophoresis for something, say for, ठीक है, okay, let it be. Just look at electrophoresis. हम लोग electrophoresis के लिए search में जाएंगे तो you'll find that there are like how many results? 25,993 results you have got on the context of electrophoresis. Say for example, spring type of electrophoresis tank for SDS page, right? Then electrophoresis product for bubble remove device, right? Mini double vertical electrophoresis apparatus and like, okay. So इस तरह से आप you'll get a patents, submitted patent. So कितना pages हुआ? 1 of 2,600 pages, right? Likewise, you can search for this. Now, if you open this, I just give you an example. If you open this, you'll get an information about it, right? So this is actually the concept, right? So ये कौन सा applicant है, कौन है, and what is the content and all that, you can search it out. So basically, as I said earlier also, that this particular database has got an immense importance, right? And you should I encourage you all to go with this patent databases for searching a proper content, right? So that's it from my side. Sorry for extending for next 10 minutes, but if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer those questions if there are.
Anyone having any questions, please ask.
You can write to me in chat window as well, so there is no problem. I can respond to that. If you don't want to ask me directly, I can answer your questions from the chat window.
Well, Praveen sir, I think we should move forward now.
Okay, sir, there is no problem. So from my side, sir,
No,
can I
sir,
write
one question is there, I think.
Sir, can I write a review research paper on patentized material? See, review research paper onto a patentized, you can write definitely, there is no problem. You need to, like, in case of citing it, you need to recite a patent, that's it, right? But don't take the term as it is. Try to understand that patent first. Try to understand that patent, what has written, how the process is, and try to put it into your words, and then refer it back to the patent which is being used, right? So instead of citing a paper, you cite a patent. That can be done easily. There is no problem. राईट. आणि हे करत असताना तुम्ही हे पण लक्षात घ्या की पेटंटला कसं रेफर करतात पेपरमध्ये, त्याची सुद्धा एक स्कीम आहे. दॅट स्कीम यू नीड टू फॉलो. व्हॉट इज रायटिंग डिफरन्स बिटवीन आर्टिकल अँड पेटंट्स. पेरेंट्स नाही येते, पेटंट्स असेल. What is writing difference between article? There is a lot of difference between article referring an article and referring a patent. पेटंट कसं लिहायचं आणि आर्टिकल कसं लिहायचं तुम्हाला एखाद दिवशी आपण वेगळं करूया त्याच्यावरती. ऍक्च्युअली आपल्या रिसर्च मेथोलॉजी मध्ये आपण काय करतो की देर आर डिफरंट टूल्स अवेलेबल जे तुम्हाला मदत करतात सायटिंग वाईल द रायटिंग. आता खूप काही वेळेस कसं होतं माहितीये, प्रॉपर सायटेशन लिहिताच येत नाही मुलांना, राईट. तर ते अवॉइड करण्यासाठी तुम्हाला ती प्रॅक्टिसच करावी लागेल की ऍट्रिब्यूट्स कुठले आहेत. आपल्याला माहित नसतं ऍट्रिब्यूट्स कुठले आहेत. फ्रँकली स्पीकिंग, जे रिसर्च स्टुडंट पेपर लिहितायत ना, ते फक्त रेफरन्स कसा लिहिलाय समोरच्याने तेवढंच पाहून त्याचा रेफरन्स लिहिलेला असतो, पण ते प्रॉपर आहे की नाही रेफरन्स हा सब्जेक्ट ऑफ क्वेश्चन आहे. तर त्याच्यासाठी तुम्हाला ना साईट व्हॅल्यू राईट हा कॉन्सेप्ट म्हणजे रेफरन्स मॅनेजमेंट हे व्यवस्थित शिकायला हवं. आणि त्याच्यासाठी तुम्हाला काही टूल्स आहेत ते पण तुम्ही बघा. त्यातलं एक खूप चांगलं टूल आहे. एक तर आहे, जस्ट अ मिनिट, माझ्याकडे आहे ते. एक तर आहे मॅनले रेफरन्स मॅनेजर आहे, झोटेरो आहे, तुमचं नंतर एंड नोट नावाचं सॉफ्टवेअर आहे. हे सगळे सॉफ्टवेअर तुम्हाला ते मदत करतील तुम्हाला लिहिण्यासाठी, राईट. सो हे सगळे सॉफ्टवेअर्स आर अवेलेबल, तर हे तुम्ही वापरू शकता. देर इज नो प्रॉब्लेम, राईट.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Praveen sir, we'll move forward now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Praveen sir, for your guidance on IPR and clearing most of our doubts regarding IPR, patents, copyright, trademarks, and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
This concludes our second session of the workshop. And before a vote of thanks, I just want to bring to your notice that you have to fill the feedback forms and submit back to us. Then only you will get the attendance certificate. So within 5 minutes, you will get the feedback form. Please send us, fill in and send back to us so we can send you the attendance certificate. Now I'll continue with the vote of thanks. So I want to thank the president of today's function, Principal Dr. Vasant Sanap sir, for his presence and sharing his valuable time with us. I propose my thanks to Dr. Bharti Gauli and Dr. Praveen Yannawar for such a beautiful lecture and for accepting an invitation in a very short notice. I also want to propose my thanks to our chief guest, Dr. Santosh Undre and Dr. Ganesh Mohite, for sharing their valuable time with us. I also want to thank Mr. Ashok Zanole for handling all the technical side of this workshop. And lastly, I thank all of you who made this workshop possible and happen. Thanks all of you and goodbye. Thank you guys. Thank you very much.